Welcome to the BlackChannel.net radio. I am your host, the Black Authority.
And I am Professor Black Truth.
And tonight we bring you a special broadcast presentation of something that we know you don't want to miss. We are very honored for our guests.
The Matrix is older than you know. If I am the father of the Matrix, she would undoubtedly be its mother.
And truer words were never spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who do not know who we have on tonight, we have on Miss Sophia Stewart, probably the most influential Hollywood writer that you have never heard of until tonight. Miss Stewart, welcome to the BlackChannel.net radio.
Well, thank you, but I'd like to clarify that statement. A lot of people have heard of Sophia Stewart. I've been in the media, in mainstream media, since October the 17th, 2003, and I'm talking about ABC, BET, MTV, Vibe, Source, CNN News, Uptown Magazine, Mohammed speaking engagements for NAACP, front page newspapers, over 4,000 interviews. In fact, anybody put me in Yahoo, they'll get almost 7 million hits, over 100,000 websites, and 1 million links talking about Sophia Stewart, the mother of the Matrix, the writer of the Matrix, and the Terminator.
Well, you know what? The only thing that's missing at this point, the only place that your name isn't that it should be, is on all those DVDs and all those credits. And that's the only place that you haven't been seen or heard at. And it's very, very far too long overdue. And we just want to thank you so much tonight.
That's absolutely the truth. That's the absolute truth. And that is exactly what I'm fighting for, is my screen credit and the money that's due me. And until they put my name on those DVDs, they do not have a valid copyright to the Matrix and Terminator franchises. I, Sophia Stewart, is the legal owner, and I can do whatever I want with any of that property. And if you don't believe it, then you need to watch me.
Well, that's exactly what we want to jump into here. Because a lot of people have heard about the comments so far about the Matrix, but they haven't really heard I haven't seen where they've given as much ink to the Terminator part of it, which is where it all really begins. So take us back to the beginning. We want to go back to the beginning here. How did this start with this story that you wrote, The Third Eye? How did it start, beginning with Terminator? How did they first steal this from you?
The beginning is, well, while I was in USC Film School, I had written The Third Eye movie treatment and copywritten it. I had an 81, 83, and an 84 copyrights, because what I copywritten was a body of work. And this is where the confusion is. People don't know that I had a movie treatment that's like a formal script, a manuscript, which is a book, and I had graphics and special effects and characters and other things. A body of work was conceived and copywritten. And while I was at USC Film School in 1981, I wrote The Third Eye movie treatment first while I was working on the book. And I had saw Star Wars. Now, my inspiration came from God. It did not come from Star Wars. But I did see the movie Star Wars, The Wars in Heaven. And I saw that George Lucas, the director, was talking about Darth Vader. And Darth Vader represented the devil. And how the devil had fallen from the light side to the dark. And that, blew me away, that someone would really come and represent the side of Satan, or how Satan fell in heaven. And so I thought about the Bible, because I was an avid reader of the Bible, grew up on it, was very spiritual, Christian, and I thought, wow, what about the second coming of Christ? What about writing a story, the Christ story, and doing it up in science fiction form in the second coming? Because it's mentioned in Revelation that he'd come back to earth, but there's no story. Yeah, there's a first coming, but there's no mention of what happens when he comes back on his second coming. And that's when the idea was born in me that he would come back through the womb again, be reborn, and that's what Matrix means. Matrix mean womb. It's Latin for womb, and it's mentioned 5 times in the Bible. In fact, Exodus 34th chapter, 19th verse says, "He who opens up the matrix is mine," says God. And so the story was born in me. Why not write the second coming of Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machines? That when Christ came back in the future, he'd be up against the machine. He'd be up against technology. That's what our future would have risen to. And that would show the Christ walk and how he would go through evolution, or how he would ascend, or what ascension would really mean. And I thought, well, I would love for George Lucas to direct this work that I've written. So I was looking for him over at 20th Century Fox, and that's where I sent the movie treatment in May the 1st. I'm in California, Los Angeles, USC Film School, just finished my treatment, which is a form of script, looking for George Lucas, the director. He's at 20th Century Fox. I send the work to 20th Century Fox. Next thing I know, I get a letter, quite a few letters, and phone call from Susan Mesbach, who's a vice president of creative affairs. She's blown away by my work. She wants to know if I have any more. I told her yes, I was working on a book, but I hadn't finished the book. And she said that Fox was interested in buying this work from me. And that's how it got started, right there. But I did not know at that particular time that Fox own executives would steal this work from them, go over to Paramount, meet up with James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd, give the work to Hurd, and Hurd would take it and have a constructive trust created called Pacific Western on May the 12th. In other words, I give it to Fox on May the 1st. Between May the 1st and May the 7th, it goes over to Gail Ann Hurd, and then Gail Ann Hurd takes it and create a dummy company. In other words, Susan Mesbach, David Madden, and Valerie Red, executives over at Fox, embezzle the script from Fox shareholders, which is Enron, give it to their friends, which is company espionage, because when you steal trade secrets from a company and go out and make your own company and leave that company, then that's stuff under the Industrial Espionage Act. And this is what they did. And since I never saw the Terminator, I didn't even know that the Terminator was stolen from me until 2001 from the FBI, when they started to investigate the case. Different agents discussed the evidence and showed me the evidence and discussed it with me.
So you're saying that from 1984, when that movie was released, until 2000, you had never seen Terminator or Terminator 2, so you were unaware.
I've never seen Terminator 1, period. I just told you. I didn't even know until the FBI did their investigations. And they told me. But when the judge, they brought it up to the judge, these defendants, Warner Brothers, Andy and Larry Wachowski, Gail Ann Hurd, James Cameron, Joel Silvers, they all told the judge that they stole the Terminator from me and that the statutes of limitations had ran out. And the judge cautions them to admit to a crime, criminal copyright infringement, is willful intent. Because under the RICO statutes, you can be indicted to go to jail. Those are indictable offenses. Every time you make a derivative under the anti-counterfeiting statutes, you're committing a crime. And so, because she told them that she had never seen the Terminator nor the Matrix, and there was no proof that Sophia Stewart had ever seen the Matrix or seen the Terminator, because I'd seen the Matrix, but there was no proof that I had ever seen the Terminator. And she said that the Lachi laws actually does not count because the moment of discovery is actually when the clock started ticking. And I didn't know anything until the FBI had told me, and I had FBI documents and evidence and proof and the court system to substantiate this.
Yes, one of the most important facts about details is that Ms. Stewart reported the death of the Matrix in 1999. She didn't report the death of the Terminator, which is one of the most fascinating facts in this story, because the FBI is doing its job. And when the FBI investigated the claim of copyright infringement of the Matrix, after they looked into that claim, it's the FBI that told Ms. Stewart that the Terminator was a part of it also. People need to understand that.
Okay, well then let's go ahead and bridge that gap. How do we make the bridge then from Terminator to Matrix?